Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time.
I am absolutely going to testify. I won't even say his name. He is an evil being, and it's going to pay.
I was just, living in this shame, living in all this sort of stuff of my past, and I wasn't able to move on. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
No one expected day 2 of Diddy's trial to explode, but it did. And it all started with one unexpected post from Justin Bieber. The courtroom was tense from the moment Diddy walked in. He had his high-priced legal team by his side, trying to show confidence. But something felt off. His eyes kept darting around the room like he was waiting for something bad to happen. And security? It wasn't normal. Extra guards were placed near his table, and one stood directly behind his chair. Then Cassie entered. She wasn't flashy, but her quiet confidence turned heads. Surrounded by close friends, she looked calm, even strong. Diddy, on the other hand, couldn't stop checking his phone. His hands shook, his jaw was tight, and his lawyer had to physically take the phone away. Whatever he saw on that screen rattled him to the core, but that wasn't the whole story. What Diddy read online was about to shake the courtroom and his entire image to its foundation.
Do you think the person that the you of then was on a path of self-destruction?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would have, for sure, 100%. Yeah. It would have been no bueno. It was bad. I don't know if I'd be alive, for sure. It was dark. So I'm very, very grateful to have influences in my life that have played a huge part in me seeing their relationship with Jesus and their relationship with their wives and their relationship with their kids and saying that's what I want. But I want to definitely tell my story so that if that resonates to anybody, that they can hopefully. But yeah, just protecting those moments, because people take for granted encounters and
Bieber turned 15, and it suddenly seemed that Hollywood was keen to almost initiate him. I think that's the right word. Like, there was almost like this initiation that he needed to go through. So I want you to be now super uncomfortable and watch this video of an interaction between him and none other than Diddy. Take a listen.
Justin, you ever seen the movie The Times of Their Lives? Like, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher. I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full.
Young Justin Bieber, who was signed by Usher, involved with Scooter Braun. Now all of a sudden he's being put in the hands of Diddy, who, it is true, he became the legal guardian for Usher. You can look up all of the allegations of what Diddy did. The allegations are essentially that Diddy very much initiated Usher. As we are going through these lawsuits and Diddy is in prison, we are recognizing that everybody knew. This was an open secret about what Diddy was doing. So it just begs the question, who allowed Justin Bieber to be in the presence of this man, knowing what he was up to, allegedly up to? That seems to be very clear.
It turns out the post that set Diddy off came from someone no one expected, Justin Bieber. Right before court began, Bieber posted a public message supporting Cassie. And it wasn't just a basic sending love post. He shared specific memories, saying he personally witnessed Diddy mistreat Cassie at industry parties. Bieber wrote about seeing Diddy grab Cassie's arm too hard and speak over her during interviews. He even apologized for staying silent in the past. Within minutes, the post went viral. Phones lit up all over the courthouse. Reporters gasped. Assistants printed screenshots. Even the judge looked more tense than usual. But Diddy? He looked furious. His whole body stiffened. His lawyer tried calming him down, whispering in his ear, but Diddy brushed him off again and again. And what happened next would shock everyone. Because once Bieber's post hit the courtroom, Diddy's cool image started cracking. And it wasn't long before it fully shattered.
Yeah, so, I just want to protect her, I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, if she ever needs me, just think about how young I was and so impressionable and you have everybody telling me how awesome I am at all times, you know, and like.
It's like taking a kid and putting a kid in a room full of nothing but sweets.
Right.
And just saying, I'll be back in 2 days.
Exactly. I just want people to understand, like, the psychology behind why I potentially could have problems in my life.
Second time, let's talk about the fact that Combs' co-defendant in a civil case, a case, by the way, that accuses him and this co-defendant, another A-lister, of rape. This guy is once again slamming the attorney behind the case, insisting that he be sanctioned for allegedly not doing his job. We're talking, of course, about Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, once again calling out attorney Tony Busby, calling out his character, more specifically into question, claiming that the Texas attorney's filings have, quote, substantial. Now, we've talked about this before, but basically, a civil lawsuit was filed against Sean Combs on behalf of a Jane Doe who says that she was raped by Combs and another celebrity at a home after the Video Music Awards in 2000.
As court began, Diddy sat stiffly, bouncing his leg and staring straight ahead. His lawyer slid papers in front of him, trying to distract him, but Diddy pushed them away without a glance. The tension in the room was heavy. Even the jurors noticed. One woman's hands trembled as she sipped water. Another kept glancing at Diddy, clearly sensing something was wrong. Then it happened. Diddy suddenly stood up. It wasn't casual. It was sharp, angry. A bailiff quickly stepped forward, sensing trouble. Diddy muttered loud enough for the front rows to hear. After everything I did for that kid, loyalty means nothing anymore. He was clearly talking about Bieber. His lawyer grabbed his arm, trying to sit him back down. Diddy's breathing grew heavy, and he looked like he was about to explode. The judge hadn't even spoken yet, and already the courtroom was spiraling. But the real meltdown was still coming, because once Cassie took the stand, things would go from bad to unforgettable. Cassie walked to the witness stand with quiet strength. Unlike the first day, she didn't look down or avoid Diddy's gaze. She held her head high and looked directly at the jury. Her voice was steady as she began sharing details that no one was ready for. She spoke about years of control, how Diddy demanded to know where she was at all times. She even read messages from him, including one where he told her, "That's the deal if you want to keep your career." Gasps echoed through the courtroom. Jurors leaned in, eyes wide. Some looked visibly shaken. Cassie explained how Diddy monitored who she spoke to and had a list of male artists she couldn't interact with unless he was present. One of those names? Justin Bieber. When she once questioned that rule, Diddy grabbed her arm and whispered a threat in her ear. And then came the twist no one expected, because what Cassie described perfectly matched the claims Bieber had just made hours earlier. The courtroom froze as prosecutors revealed a new piece of evidence: text messages between Cassie and Justin Bieber from back in 2017. The messages showed Cassie confiding in Bieber, telling him Diddy was monitoring her and threatening her career if she spoke to anyone. Bieber responded, "This isn't normal, Cass. What he's doing isn't okay." Diddy's face turned bright red, his eyes locked on the screen, and his hands began to shake. Then, in front of everyone, he shot up from his chair, yelling, "This is all lies!" He pointed at Cassie, shouting, "You know damn well that's not what happened." The judge slammed her gavel and ordered him to sit down. But Diddy kept going, blaming Bieber, accusing everyone of betrayal. Security had to move in as his lawyer begged him to calm down. Reporters typed furiously, capturing every second of the outburst. But things were about to get even worse, because the next move from the prosecution would leave Diddy completely unglued. With the jury now removed from the room, the judge didn't hold back. She looked straight at Diddy and said, "This is a court of law, not your recording studio. You don't control what happens here." Her voice was sharp, her tone firm. Then she ordered a psychiatric evaluation and added strict new rules. Diddy would be watched by 2 officers at all times, and he lost all phone privileges for the rest of the trial. Diddy's lawyers huddled like a team in crisis. One made urgent phone calls, another scribbled notes. Their body language said it all. They knew the case had taken a serious hit. Meanwhile, Cassie sat still, calm and collected. She didn't flinch once during Diddy's outburst. Her strength only made him look worse. And when the jury returned, the shift in energy was obvious. Faces were colder. Eyes looked away from Diddy, but the prosecution wasn't done yet, because their next witness would connect even more dots and shake the courtroom all over again. As court resumed, the prosecution wasted no time. They played hotel security footage from 2018 showing Cassie trying to speak to a male artist in a lobby. Moments later, Diddy appeared on screen, wrapped his arm around her, and led her away. The body language was clear, controlling, forceful, just like Cassie had described minutes earlier. Jurors leaned forward. Some looked stunned. Diddy, sitting between 2 officers, shifted uncomfortably. His lawyer whispered frantically in his ear, but Diddy didn't respond. He just stared at the screen, jaw clenched. Then Cassie named exact dates and places where similar events happened. March 8th, 2017 in New York, June 22nd in Miami, the VMAs in September. Each detail matched stories that had once been only rumors. Now, they were backed by dates, visuals, and her calm, confident voice. And the final blow was yet to come, because Cassie was about to reveal a chilling threat Diddy once made involving Justin Bieber. Cassie's next statement hit like a thunderclap. She testified testified that after speaking to Justin Bieber at an industry party, Diddy pulled her aside and said, "Even Justin knows what happens to people who cross me." The courtroom went silent. That one line tied everything together. Bieber's recent post, Cassie's years of fear, and Diddy's need for control. Cassie said she hadn't spoken to Bieber in years, but after his post, her phone exploded with messages from other people ready to speak up. They're saying they saw things too. They're finally ready to tell the truth, she told the court. Jurors reacted instantly. One wiped away a tear, another took frantic notes. Meanwhile, Diddy looked like a man unraveling. He fidgeted nonstop, whispered to his lawyer, and avoided eye contact with everyone.
And weeks after the initial filing, Busby submitted an amended complaint naming Jay-Z as the celebrity who allegedly participated. They wanted copies of these videos for themselves. And I've talked to lawyers about this before. There's a big advantage to having the electronic video, the electronic evidence yourself, right? You don't have to always go over to the other office. You can view the materials on your own. It's a way to better prepare for your defense. And Sean Combs' lawyers argued that under the federal rules of criminal procedure, electronic data that is in the government's possession. Judge Subramanian denied the defense's motion to amend the protective order, but without prejudice, meaning this issue could be revisited. So Subramanian's order reads, quote, "While the government objects to handing the videos over, they provide several options for a defendant to consider that would permit the defense to view the videos, access the information they're looking for, and even allow them to manipulate the video."
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters, and I just want to protect her, I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. Yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
Do you realize how important your story is? Every time I have a conversation with someone who's been through this unique type of experience, I'm searching for some kind of truth that can help.
I commend you for going there and asking the tough questions and the things that people don't want to talk about, and they don't want to go there because it's revealing, and I want people to take a look at my story, and hopefully my words can make a difference.
But just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, the prosecution had one more piece of evidence that would push Diddy completely over the edge. The prosecution's final move was the most damaging. They displayed a private text exchange from 2017 between Cassie and Justin Bieber. In it, Cassie wrote, "He monitors everything. If I talk to anyone, he'll make sure I never work again." Bieber responded, "This isn't normal. You need to talk to someone who can help." As the messages lit up the courtroom screen, Diddy erupted. He jumped to his feet, shouting, "Those are fake! Justin never said that!" His lawyer tried to hold him back, but Diddy shoved him away. Reporters typed wildly as security rushed in, surrounding him. The judge ordered the jury out again. Diddy kept yelling, calling it all a setup. "Where's your loyalty? After everything I did for you," he screamed, pointing toward Cassie and Bieber's messages. The damage was done. The courtroom had witnessed Diddy lose control in real time, but what the judge said next sealed the moment and left no doubt that Diddy's trial would never be the same again. With the jury out of the room and Diddy still fuming, Judge Marlowe stood up and laid down the law. "Mr. Combs, this is your final warning," she said sharply. "If you have another outburst, you will spend the rest of this trial in a holding cell." She then ordered an immediate psychiatric evaluation and added even tighter security. 2 officers were now required to stand within arm's reach of Diddy at all times. His lawyers couldn't even speak to him without a guard present, and his phone privileges were completely revoked. The courtroom atmosphere had shifted. Prosecutors stayed calm and focused. Cassie sat tall, hands folded, unshaken by the chaos. Meanwhile, Diddy looked broken, tie loosened, eyes down, and body slumped in his chair. His legal team looked overwhelmed, with one lawyer rubbing his face in frustration and another making frantic calls from the corner. When the jury returned, everything had changed. Jurors who had once smiled politely at Diddy now avoided eye contact. One even moved her chair away from the defense table. The confidence Diddy carried on day one was gone. What was left was a man exposed under pressure, unraveling in front of a national audience. Cassie never had to raise her voice. Her strength was in her calm, in her details, and in her truth. Diddy's outburst did more than hurt his case. It revealed a side of him the public had never seen. And once that mask slipped, there was no putting it back on. Want more updates as this trial unfolds? Make sure to subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss what happens next. This story's far from over.